Hey there everybody, welcome to the channel. We're here at the Columbus Airshow in Ohio. First time I've been here. But this video is going to be about firmware 4.0 for the Z9. We're going to use 3D tracking. Supposedly that got a good upgrade for photo and video. So, let's go get our seat and see what we get. So it's been a few days and we're gonna go over some of the things that I noticed in 4.0 for the firmware for the 3D tracking. Now, I wasn't expecting a huge update for this. I wasn't thinking, oh my goodness, the firmware is going to be amazing compared to how it was. So we're gonna start off looking at examples that I recorded with the EVF using the Zcam IP-Man Gemini. There's a little video I did about it. It'll pop up above if you want to check that out after the video if you're interested in recording your EVF for cheap. So the first thing we notice here is the 3D tracking with vehicle detection on. It works pretty nice. It's real easy to activate on and off. Sometimes it gets a little sidetracked, so you just let off on the shutter and it reacquires when you push it back on. And it works pretty good. Doesn't really get too confused about foreground subjects. Tracks really well on the plane, on the engine, on the prop, even sometimes on the cockpit. Then real quick, we just have a couple examples here showing the final images from the sequence before. Then we have auto area tracking vehicle detect on for photo, and it works as intended. Nothing really anything different here, but I did feel that it was easier to use in the heat of the moment since it just kind of figured out where the plane was at all times. And we have a couple examples here as well. Personally, I did shoot most of the air show with auto area vehicle detect on. Worked like a charm. Who knows, maybe the Z9 will get the Z8's airplane detection in the autofocus, so if that happens, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. And then we have 3D tracking vehicle detect in video. This worked okay if there was nothing really around it to distract it. I thought it would work pretty much the same, but it really doesn't. If there's nothing in the foreground, it's nice. But as you can see, it kind of like jumps all over the place and you're constantly having to press the OK button to reset it and try and lock it back on. Sometimes it works good, other times it just does not work too great. As you can see, the foreground, there's people's heads and stuff. It kind of distracts the 3D tracking. And again, you got to reset it. And here's an example of it just kind of going all over the place. You can see in the bottom left EVF, it's kind of just focusing on the background, the foreground all over the place. And the plane goes in and out of focus. It's kind of annoying. Don't really want to ruin your shot with that. And then sometimes it works miraculous. It works really good, as you can see here with this P51. So on to auto area tracking, vehicle detect on in video. This is what I use 99% of the time in any of my videos. It's pretty much my go-to. I just let it detect the subject Sometimes the EVF just doesn't have any boxes that pop up, so it kind of looks plain, but every time you go back and look at the footage, it's clearly in focus and being tracked. So maybe we are relying on too many cues from our EVF and saying focus is off. And then we also have the f/22 here just to show how quick the autofocus detection and auto area picks up the subject. The f/22 comes flying into the frame and the camera automatically grabs on and works like a charm. The weather that day was not the best for aviation photography. Not really that would make the camera struggle in that regard. More to do with not the most appeasing clouds and sky for it. It was very hazy, pretty overcast for most of the shots, and I believe some of that haze was probably from the Canadian wildfires blowing south. And there really wasn't a whole lot of water vapor in the air to make any cool vapor on the planes. So that was kind of disappointing, but not really anything you can control with that. When it comes to the final thoughts on firmware 4.0 for the autofocus updates, it did say in the autofocus updates that there was improved 3D tracking. Personally, just using straight 3D tracking with the vehicle detection, I didn't notice anything huge. It pretty much worked the way it did before. Now, if you're using like back button focus or changing from like single point and switching over to 3D tracking in the middle of shooting, I don't shoot like that, so I didn't really try that out. So your mileage may vary, but with the last update that did improve, so it's either the same as it is now or a little bit better for that. And again, 3D tracking and auto area in photo mode, pretty much the same, pretty nice, but for how I shoot, I prefer auto area on this camera. And for video, I would stick to auto area, or if you have a very small area you want to focus on, use the different sized auto area focus boxes to limit your search area for the camera's autofocus. 3D tracking's just, it's usable if there's not a lot of riffraff around the screen, but other than that, not useful. Now, one of the main headlines for 4.0 was you can use the camera as a trap camera. It will automatically detect and take pictures in RAW of whatever comes in the frame at the distance that you program in. Now, I'm going to make a video on that. That's going to be a later video. Probably going to use it for around the pond, get some pictures of birds and stuff, taking drinks and whatnot. So pretty excited about that. So stick around and check that out when it gets released in a few weeks. So if you've enjoyed the video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you out there next time. Maybe I'll see you at an air show. There's one coming up here in September in Cleveland I'm hoping to attend. So best of luck. I'll see you.